And so, talking a bit about the records.
Hmm.
So, the last three, Earthwalker, Skydancer, and Arc. So, the
Hmm.
first one was about land, the second one
Hmm.
was about the air, and the latest one was about the waterways.
Hmm.
So, did you, as a band, when you started these records, was this a project, or we are gonna make one record specifically about this, and then it was like designed as a
Hmm.
trilogy?
Okay, so at the start, it was definitely designed with, it wasn't a trilogy, it was Earthwalker and Skydancer. We went into the studio knowing that we were recording two different records at the same time. So basically we had material enough for both Earthwalker and Skydancer when we went into the studio, and we wrote both songs with the, you know, the lyrics that reflected Earthwalkers, you know, with it's kind of like the feminine side of the world, which is Mother Earth, and then we had basically Father Sky for Skydancer. And so basically we went into the studio with that in mind and created Earthwalker Skydancer, and I think our fans loved it. We loved the concept as well, and we just can kind of art continues with the cycle of, you know, earth, air, water, but I think Arc is a bit of a standalone, but it is part of the trilogy in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. And at which was there a specific moment or situation
Hmm.
in which you as a band decided, oh, we need to write about the land, or we need to write about air or about
Yeah.
water? Was there a triggering situation?
I don't think it was a triggering situation. I remember one night, me and Jake he'd already thought about this previously and talked to the guys about it, not talked to me. He talked to like Ben and Evan. He was like, look, I want to do, you know, this environmental thing about the world. Like, it's something I'm really passionate about. And I was actually thinking the exact same thing. And in Tasmania, I brought it up with Jake. I'm like, if I'm going to keep doing the band, I really want it to mean something positive. And I was like, this is what I'm really passionate about right now. And it was pretty much the same thing that he had already said to Evan and Ben. So that's pretty much how it all came about. And that was just before we went into the studio for Earthwalker Skydancer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to talk a bit about a song called Frequency.
Hmm.
So I also wanted to know where the idea for the lyrics
Okay.
come from, because it's singular.
Yeah. Okay. So Jake writes the lyrics, our other vocalist, and he was talking one day to his parents, I believe the story goes, and they showed him the story of this whale, basically, that is out in the ocean right now, and it sings at a frequency that no other whale can hear. So it's basically by itself, doesn't have a pod, and like whales are very like family orientated creatures. They have their pod and they stay with them for life. But this one doesn't have anyone. So I guess the song is basically written about this whale that's out there trying to, you know, singing in the ocean, and, you know, it can't hear anyone. So that's why the chorus is like, what is your frequency? I'm begging, please. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
It's a lonely,
that's what that one's about. Yeah.
it's a lonely whale.
Yeah, it's a lonely whale, man. It's about a lonely whale. But it's a really nice story, and there is actually people out there at the moment looking for this whale. So hopefully it gets found, and, you know, we can help it out.
So it was based in a real.
Yeah, it's a real story. It's a real story out there that's happening right now, and yeah, hopefully someone finds it and helps it out.
Cool. And what were you listening to when recording the last record, Arc?
I mean, man, I listen to all different stuff. I feel like we take influences from all over the place. We all listen to very, very different music. I listen to anything from like country to like death metal. So, I mean, I don't know what else. We aren't really listening to anything specifically that led to the album sounding the way it did or anything like that. Yeah.
It was more like a natural progression.
Yeah, just a
from
natural progression, man, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if we change a bit the subject,
Hmm.
I'm curious because I was reading that you got your last three records placed within the top 5 on the Australian charts.
Hmm.
And this is a personal question because I come from Brazil. Sepultura is a big thing, but they were never ever in a chart.
Okay.
Like never. It's impossible to think that a metal band, even
Could
though
be.
they're very popular, they would be. So how does it feel to be that popular in your country?
And it's really nice that people get behind, you know, artists that don't have a big record label behind them, or, yeah, I think it's really nice that we have fans that are willing to go out and buy our records and buy enough of them that gets us to that point, man. It's really nice to have accolades like that, but it's not really why we do it, you know. But I think it's pretty cool that in Australia metal actually is a thing that people like a lot. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
This is why it's curious, because it doesn't seem to me that metal would be so big in Australia.
Well, I mean, we've had bands like Parkway Drive, The Amity Affliction, you know, big bands, even like AC/DC, you know, like rock bands. It's still, you know, real music played by people playing instruments and stuff. So I think there's a big following for real musicians in Australia and people who really appreciate, you know, the independent musician who writes their own music and releases it with themselves in the music. So yeah.
So it's not necessarily about metal itself. It's about an attitude of being independent.
Yeah, well, I think metal in itself, I think all underground music has always had a huge support from people, you know, who actually like see that band is doing it themselves, you know, and making something they truly believe in. And I think that in Australia, people do really respect that and support it. So, yeah.
But where do you think that support comes from?
Where do I don't know, man. I think a long line of bands in Australia who have been providing that for the people, like Parkway Drive and The Amity Affliction and things like that. Yeah.
And when you were growing up, did you have like your parents, would they give you records, like metal records, or how did you get into metal in the first place?
My parents listen to country music, and I used to listen to country music, man. I'm a huge country music fan. I still am. How did I get into it? Actually, it was through my father. He's a cleaner who cleans, you know, people's houses and stuff after they move out, and he found Rage Against the Machine record, The Battle of Los Angeles, and he picked it up and he brought it home, and I listened to that, and I think that was like the first. It wasn't metal, but it's like that was the first like kind of heavy music I heard, and then from there I found like Slipknot and System of a Down and Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, and 36 Crazy Fists as well, and I came up through that. So yeah.
So that's how it started.
It all started with Rage.
And you were just mentioning that you are a fan of country music.
Yeah, I still am, man. Country's sick. There's this guy at the moment called Chris Stapleton. He's literally like the greatest, like single most greatest artist I have heard like now. When you listen to his music, I feel like you're listening to like him, like right there, like pouring his heart out. It's amazing, man.
But is country big in Australia? It's
pretty big in Australia, yeah. We definitely have like a big country music scene. I came from this town called Tamworth, kind of a little west of the East Coast, and it's basically the country music capital, I guess, of Australia. They hold like a big country music festival there every year, so yeah. I don't know, I grew up with it and I still love it. It's good stuff.
And now, any plans of adding some country elements into your music, or it's just a weird question that I'm asking right now?
I mean, if the shoe fits, we'll do whatever, you know. It sounds good, but there's no like, it's pretty hard to get a country sound into a metal song, to be honest, man. It's pretty difficult. Maybe blues, you could get a little bit of that in it, but country's pretty difficult.
Yeah. And do you have, so we were touring the last record, do you have any plans for a new record?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like every band is always writing music constantly. I think we're going to take our time with this one. I mean, Ark's only just been out for a year now, so there's no real rush for us to jump straight into the studio. We're going to have a little bit of time off because we've been touring relentlessly for like 5 months now. We really haven't spent much time at home, so we're going to go home, regroup. Well, we've already been writing, so it shouldn't be too long until something else comes out.
So, you write like on the bus when you are touring? Where
we try
and how do you write?
We try to. We definitely write more at home when you know, everything's quiet and we're in the right mindset. But we definitely try to write on the road when we can. When there's, you know, an idea like comes up and someone's got a really good idea for a riff. Yeah, definitely.
And when you're at home, you are at your home. And in which moment do you write when you are at home?
I go down to Evan's place down. He lives in a place called Newryborough, and I basically go down there and I hang out with Evan and we like brainstorm on, you know, melodies and vocals, and everyone kind of does their own thing and we send it all together like then eventually get together and kind of put everyone's kind of flair on the songs and stuff like that.
And start like.
It usually starts with Ben, our guitarist, who gets like a skeleton of the songs out and ready, and then we all kind of put our thing on top of that.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Awesome, man.
Very cool.